In this show, I'm going to be talking about what you do if your child wants to be a YouTube creator. How do you process that? What do you do? And, well, how can you help? So these days it seems that becoming an online superstar has replaced becoming a TV or music or Hollywood star. And it's easy to see why. Online creator tools are accessible to pretty much anybody. And we're seeing huge rewards potentially being earned by online creators. And so I'm frequently asked by parents, hey, my little Johnny or my little Jenny has created a YouTube channel. Check it out. What do you think? And so a lot of parents who don't really understand what being on the internet means, sometimes these people haven't even got Facebook accounts themselves, are letting their children create a YouTube channel. There's this misconception amongst people who haven't used the internet that it's all perfectly harmless, it's a lot of fun. Going back to video games, I often see adults wondering where the harm is in buying a Grand Theft Auto game or an 18-rated game for their very young children. A lot of adults are simply out of touch with the reality of the internet. The fact that you're watching this hopefully means that you are aware of the dangers of being on the internet and the implications and everything that means, and perhaps you're looking for some guidance or some information to help you make the decision on whether you should be allowing and helping your child to be a video creator or not. So in this video, I'm going to be covering all of those topics. A, what exactly does it mean to be a YouTube creator, especially as a youngster? B, what can you do to help? C, what are the rewards and pitfalls? And ultimately, all of that together should help you make that decision. So before you get started, sit down with your child and ask them about what they want to do. What are they trying to create? What sort of videos do they want to make? What audience are they hoping to reach? Why do they want to create a YouTube channel? Find out all of this information first. That may help you steer the decision on what to do next. Try to approach the conversation non-judgmentally. Be curious. Ask questions. I know what it was like as a child. If people try and tell me no, then the more I want to do it. And honestly, it's so easy to do this, to create a YouTube channel. Kids can do it on their phone. So if you don't help them, if you put up barriers, chances are they're going to do it anyway. So you probably need to find a way to be on their side, at least until you work out exactly what's going on. Now, here's some of the issues you may encounter. YouTube channels are not allowed, they're not permitted for children who are under 13 years age. Google, the parent company of YouTube, collects and processes data, and so it's simply not allowed to do that with minors. Therefore, YouTube may well shut that channel down if they find it's owned by a child. So if you want to be safe here, or at least in terms of not losing your site point of view, put the site under your name and allow your child to have access to that to create content. And if you own the channel, you can then supervise and monitor what your child is doing on that channel. Maybe something you want to consider, especially if it's a very young child. So you need to decide whether to allow your child to create a YouTube channel or not. And there are many benefits and there are many pitfalls. The benefits could include success and fame and celebrity. So there are a lot of benefits to having a YouTube channel, especially if it's something to nurture and to grow and to make a success of. Although obviously the success is up to you to define. But regardless, content creation, the confidence of being in front of the camera, writing skills, analytical skills, IT skills. There are a huge amount of things that anyone, especially children, but anyone can benefit from in learning how to create a successful YouTube channel. However, there are also a lot of pitfalls. You're out there in the public eye. You can receive unpleasant comments. There's people you may not want to be looking at your child on the internet. So there are downsides to this too. It can become a little bit addictive, a little bit obsessive. So there are things to consider, pros and cons. Now I'll try to recap on those towards the end of the video, but for now, let's assume you have decided that you want to help your child create a YouTube channel. What do you do? So the first thing you need to do is create a plan. Write down what you were trying to achieve, why you were trying to achieve it. Not only is that a beneficial life skill to have, it'll also help you keep your eyes on the prize. You're setting goals. You're trying to work out what you were trying to do with your channel, how you were going to get there, and what steps steps you need to take to get to that end goal. So creating a plan is the essential first step, and you can both sit down together and work on that. Now, once you've decided that plan, that'll help you illustrate the next step, which is to explain just how difficult it is. Now, you need to be armed here, and you need to understand why it's difficult, and I've created a video specifically on this. Link is popping up above. Creating a YouTube channel, especially one which is successful to the point where it can generate an income, is extraordinarily difficult. It may seem like it's a breeze because you only see creators putting out a few minutes of video a day and they're driving around in Lamborghinis. Those are the exception. Creating a YouTube channel that generates a good living is a graft. It's a hard job which not everybody can do. So you need to explain that to your child, and perhaps give them some examples of the 99% of channels that actually fail and get nowhere. Talk to them about the upsides and downsides of fame. Look at celebrities who have crashed and burned because they became famous at a young age and couldn't handle it. Explain that YouTube celebrity is absolutely no substitute for a career. Yes, the skills you can learn can, be beneficial, and you could strike gold in them hills and make a fortune, but that's really unlikely. So you don't want this to get in the way of actual education or actual work towards a professional career, which is a far more likely way of earning a good living. There are so many unknowns with YouTube at the moment. We don't know how long it's going to be around for. Yes, it's still growing right now, but it could be a fad. It could be all over in a few years, or it could be gigantic in a few years, or even bigger than it is now. We just don't know yet. Explain that talent and skills are required. You can't just turn up and break wind on camera or pick your nose and then be a success. You actually need to work at it. It's not something you can just really do by accident. Those days for YouTube are long gone. Be aware that pursuing fame and success on YouTube can put a huge strain on people. It can be stressful, it can be hard, and the hours can be grueling. There are a number of examples that you can Google of children who have achieved success on YouTube, have gone viral, and it has changed their lives immeasurably. Furthermore, it's not always in a good way. There are some children who were shy, were vulnerable, and it's really worked against them. They've been bullied online, they've been mocked in school, videos that they shot and put out there online have turned up in places they don't want to see them. So you really need to be aware of where that content is going to end up, because once it's online, it's out there forever. There's no closing the door on some of this stuff. Maintaining a channel, especially if you have early success, keeping that relevance up and keeping that momentum going is extremely hard for a lot of people, especially if they've never had the experience and the context of having to work at something. So keep that in mind, especially if they get that lucky first video. They need to follow that up, and that pressure can be very, very difficult. So next up, you've got your plan, you've discussed the pros and cons. What about the content? Now it's time to sit down and talk about the content your child is going to create. From your point of view, be clear with your child about what content is okay and isn't okay to make. Make sure that boundaries are set and that you're aware of exactly what's going out online. Some things that you can go out there live can be with you for the rest of your life, and internet people are really unforgiving. They don't you can do something as a child that can stay with you as an adult. These people do not forgive easily, so keep that in mind. Also be careful that if they're filming with their friends, maybe their friends aren't allowed to be online, or maybe they're filming other children and those children are now being exposed to everything that comes with being online. So make sure your child is aware that there are boundaries of what they can film, and more importantly, who they can film. Next step, you've decided on the content you want to create, you've made your plan, you know the pitfalls. Now it's time to launch your channel. Launch with a safety net. Before anything gets published, you check it first. And there's a mechanism in YouTube where you can publish content as private or unlisted. Check it out first before it goes public. Make sure you're happy with it. Maybe even keep them as unlisted and only share them with friends and family for a while until you're happy that things are working safely and that the video and that the content is appropriate and you're not exposing your child to the unfortunate side of the internet. By controlling the privacy settings of that channel, you have far more control of what that channel's audience is. Might be a good idea, especially at first. Something else to consider when you get started, turn off comments. Seriously, YouTube comments are nasty. I've got several channels and, okay, I'm transgender, I'm on the internet, I get a lorry load of hate from random crazy people. I'm kind of used to it. I've been around a while. I don't really care what these idiots think. But that sort of attempted online bullying, those sorts of trolls, they could have a really negative impact on a young child. You may not want your 10-year-old to get people telling them exactly what they think of them and, their mama. Trust me, look at my other videos on hate comments to see just how mental some people can be. And look, elementary school children are not particularly nice to each other. It's a really good idea for your child to get proper constructive feedback on their content. As I said earlier, the skills that you can learn as a content creator are fantastic. The confidence, the boost that you get in, even for job interviews or, what we're doing right now and able to present an idea. These skills are super, super useful, but you also need to be aware of, to get to that point, you need to understand how you can improve. So make sure your child is mindful about constructive criticism on the content you're putting out on your new channel. And then once that channel is up and running, keep interested, stay interested, encourage them if they aren't getting the views they want. Help them with sharing their content. It can take several years before a YouTube channel becomes even moderately successful. People often need a lot of encouragement to keep going through those early years because, heck, I know I do. It can be really hard growing a channel from scratch. There is a lot to learn. It takes many years most of the time to become an overnight success on YouTube, so keep that in mind. So there's one more thing I can suggest, and that's this book here by my friend Brian G. Johnson. Now this book it's excellent. It covers an awful lot of information on how to grow a successful YouTube channel. This is something you could really purchase for your Kindle, for you to read when in the bath. It'll give you a lot of tips on how to grow that channel with your child. This video has only really covered the approach you should take with your child. This book will really help you to make that channel a success. Now there's links to this below. There's an affiliate link there which you can click on to order the book for yourself. It's a very, very, very useful book in learning how to be a successful YouTuber. And that's where we're going to leave this one. I hope this gave you some useful information on the sort of things you should be discussing with your child if they want to grow a YouTube channel. Now, if you're new to this channel, you will find a lot of videos on this channel on equipment to use, how to film videos, what sort of content to put out, how to grow your channel. So feel free to subscribe and hit that alarm bell and you'll be kept up to date of all the content I put out, and hopefully you'll find some more stuff here which will help you grow your channel yourself. I'd love to know what you think, so if this was useful, drop those comments below. I'm dying to hear from you. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, well, you know what to do. Coming up on the right is the last video I put out, and below that is the video YouTube thinks you should watch next. Sometimes it's the same video, but that's just YouTube because, well, YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. I shall see you in the very next show. Bye!